It is an awesome privilege to be here. If you're joining us for the very first time, we welcome you. But of course, I say, how they do to you. Hello, Mikey G.
Hello, Lady Elise. I mean, it's another beautiful morning right in the Grand Cayman, as well as Wednesday with a difference. And, we are thinking about how we can be better and healthier for the 2026 period. Last year, we did a lot of health talk, and we talked a little bit on just about every topic we could think about. And so we are coming back this week, this month, and this year with a few more tips and advice on how to take better care of our health this year.
And you know, Mikey G, that subject cannot be exhausted. When it comes on to our health, it's our number one priority. There is no wealth, there is no happiness without our health. So if you're joining us, I encourage you to go ahead and share the link to someone who needs to know how to take care of their health. So Dr. K will be joining us shortly as she takes us through this Health Wellness Wednesday.
Of course, when we come back, we will definitely share a few tips with you.
Welcome back, everyone. Of course, we are joined by our physician. Yes, she has been faithful in sharing some very crucial nuggets of health, and I can introduce her confidently in saying that she believes in health and well-being and primary health care. Taking care of your health before you really have an issue. So joining us this morning is Dr. K. She's a qualified physician. She has a number of years of experience under her belt, and she has a passion for health and well-being. Welcome, Dr. K.
Thank you, Lady Elise. Thank you so much. Good morning, Mikey G. Good morning, Lady Elise.
Good morning, Dr. K. And I was just saying that last year we got a wealth of information coming from you. Your desk last year talked about quite a few illnesses that we could have basically succumbed to. And so I am just saying that this year we're going to be looking at some more that we should be paying more attention to this year.
Yeah, there's so many things to talk about. There's always so many things. I actually missed International Women's Day, which was March 8th. But we'll have Women's Month coming up again in May, so that's fine. This evening, we'll be talking about another topic that's, a lot of people probably don't think about, because people are of the opinion that this is a white man's disease, but so many black persons have gotten this disease. So we're going to be talking about it, and it's multiple sclerosis. Now, what is multiple sclerosis? We've heard the term, and it sounds foreign because, we might not know many persons who are exposed or who are affected by it. But multiple sclerosis basically is an autoimmune disorder. And what does that mean? It means that the body is attacking itself. So the body is seeing itself as foreign. Just like lupus, which is systemic lupus erythematosus, and other autoimmune disorder. But this one, the attack is basically in the nervous system. So what it does is that it breaks down the protective covering of the nerves. Okay? So the nerves have this protective covering. And if you go to the other slide, you'll see like a pipe, and it's covered. And then with multiple sclerosis, there's a disconnect. And so instead of it being nice and formed, there's a breakdown in the protective covering. And as a result of that, suppose that slide is not there. As a result of that, what happens is that in multiple sclerosis, there is disruption of the information that the brain and the spinal cord or the nerves would carry to the rest of the body. For example, the body would say, or the brain would say to the body, you need to walk. But because there's a disruption of the nerve, then you're not able to do that function. Or it can damage, it can cause problems with um, basically vision and a number of other things. Even the way you think and process information, there could be a problem. The thing about multiple sclerosis is that there's really no cure, but there's treatment.
Mhm.
So basically, what happens in multiple sclerosis? As I say, the damage is in the nerves, the brain, and the spinal cord, the nerves that run there. So the way the symptoms of multiple sclerosis is dependent on where the damage is. So the damage is not uniform along the entire path. So it could be patchy damages. So depending on where the damage is, then you'll have the symptoms. Okay? So the symptoms could be, you could be just having numbness or tingling in the body. You could have an electric shock movement when you turn your neck. You could have lack of coordination. You could have trouble walking or not being able to walk at all. Or you could have complete or partial loss of vision. Sometimes you can feel like your surrounding is moving with you, which we call vertigo. Or you could have problem with your bowel and bladder function, and also fatigue. And you could have problems with memory, as I said, the way you process the information. Memory, how you remember it, how you process it, and how you understand it. Okay? And there could be mood changes. And I'm not sure why, but there is small increase in body temperature can actually worsen multiple sclerosis. Okay?
The
So
increase
if you get
in
hot,
the increase in your body temperature can cause it. So yeah,
worsen. If you have multiple sclerosis, it can
worsen it,
worsen it.
worsens the situation.
Right, but the thing about multiple sclerosis is that a lot of times people have multiple sclerosis and don't even know, because the symptoms are sometimes so vague, or sometimes there's no symptoms at all when the nerve is damaged. So we would know that there's multiple sclerosis. But the thing about multiple sclerosis is that we don't know what causes it. We just know that it's an autoimmune disorder where there's damage. The body's own immune system damages itself, right? And as a result of that, you have the symptoms. So who gets multiple sclerosis? Now, multiple sclerosis can occur at any age, but it's more commonly between ages 20 and 40. And guess what? Women are 2 to 3 times more likely to have multiple sclerosis. Okay? And if you have a family history, a parent or a sibling with multiple sclerosis, then you're more likely to get multiple sclerosis. And it has been linked to a variety of viruses, including Epstein-Barr virus. And who gets multiple sclerosis in terms of race? So particularly Caucasian, people with white skin, those in Northern Europe, are more likely, European descent are more likely to get multiple sclerosis. People of Asian, African, or Native Americans are less likely. However, they've been studying and realized that it's probably not so much, because there are quite a bit of persons who are African or black people and Hispanic people who actually have multiple sclerosis. And multiple sclerosis tend to be more common in places of temperate climates, for example, in Canada, northern United States, New Zealand, Australia, Europe, and significantly low vitamin D levels
Ah,
have been linked or puts you at greater risk for getting MS. So
so
people who live in the tropics are less likely to get multiple sclerosis. And yeah, and this is a picture that I was saying, that what happens is that you damage the sheath. So you see the sheath is damaged, the covering, so you have the nerve going between, and then the sheath on the outside is damaged. It's not uniformly damaged, so it all depends on where along that sheath is damaged. It's like you have an electric wire and you're damaging part of the
and it's
electric
open.
wire.
Yes, a chafe wire.
Yes, so then you cause a problem. Correct. And that's basically the same kind of principle. People who are obese or who use or were obese in childhood have a higher risk of, and people who smoke tend to have a higher risk of getting multiple sclerosis. And as I say before, multiple sclerosis is one of those conditions that you can get and have symptoms long before you even know, because it all depends on where on that sheath the damage is and how extensive the damage is. We don't know what causes it. There's really no cure, but there are lots of treatment. How do you diagnose? So it's symptomatic, and usually they do an MRI. And the MRI basically is to look to see if the areas on the spinal cord, they're looking for areas of multiple sclerosis, right? So these lesions are that they see on the spinal cord will tell you that there is something happening. They can do blood tests looking in for the antigen associated with multiple sclerosis. But these things are, there are lots of other experimental things that they're looking for in terms of lumbar puncture and other tests that they can use to look for multiple sclerosis. The thing about multiple sclerosis is that the treatment that they use basically is focusing on speedy recovery from the attacks and also reducing the relapses and the progression of multiple sclerosis. So people who have very mild symptoms may not need any treatment. But if the symptoms are moderate and severe, then yes, you'd want to stop the progression of the disease. And one of the first things that they will do is high dose steroids.
So
Okay.
here is a question for you, Dr. K. As you're saying that, is there a prevention in any way that you could start doing early in your life? If this is something that we could start doing without being diagnosed, just say, I'm going to do these things to prevent disease like multiple sclerosis to occur in my body. What could be some of those things? I mean,
So yes,
yes.
yes. So there are things that you can do. I mean, it's autoimmune, so sometimes, I mean, you can determine your body recognizing it as foreign. But yes, there are things that you can do. For example, we go back to the fundamentals, Lady Elise. Nutrition, your diet is important. Eating vegetables, beans, all of those kind of plant-based diets, less red meat, less alcohol, um, drinking a lot of water. Those are things that will help you. Getting rest,
Get
stress.
some sleep.
Of course, sleep is very important.
Yes.
Rest, your diet, sleep, your stress level, your trust in God, doing stuff that will help you to relax, whether it's going to be walking, exercising, that kind of thing. That will decrease your stress level, and exercising is very, very important. The other thing that is important again is, so I talked about exercise, I talked about sleep, rest, I talk about um, your nutrition, water, vitamin D, air.
Yes.
As I say, low vitamin D levels are linked to increase risk of getting MS. And you know what they say is that your birth month
Is
has a factor to
is
play
linked
too
to that?
if you're at risk.
What month?
Why? Let me tell you why.
What month then? If there's a month, do they have
Okay,
one?
it says the months that your mother was pregnant with you where you did not get much sunlight. But that shouldn't happen in the temperate countries, right? In the tropical countries, because the mother would get sunlight all the time. But in
All through the
places where
year.
it's dark and cold, and so she's pregnant with you in the fall and in winter, you would not get enough sunlight as a enough vitamin D or enough sunlight in utero, and they're saying that is linked to increased risk of getting multiple sclerosis. So remember, it's not just what you do as a child from in utero. From in fact, women have a great responsibility. Do you know that? Because they they determine a lot of things with the baby, and it's not when they're pregnant that they're actually preparing for a child. Women need to understand that if you're desirous of having children, it starts long before you ever get pregnant. It starts long before you even get married. You start taking care of your body. So when that time comes around, you have a healthy vehicle for that baby to grow in. It's important. And women don't understand. You can't just, I remember meeting somebody recently, and, you know, she and her husband are IV drug users, right? And they do all of this, and she says, "Oh, we're trying to get pregnant." I'm like, "What's wrong with this woman?"
So,
I'm
so
just saying, it's important that we take care of our bodies, and we do not, the habits that we have, if we decide to have a child, it behoves us to make sure our bodies are healthy. We sleep, we exercise, we get our vitamins, we get our nutrition up to par, so that the day we get pregnant, it's not like you have to be taking a lot of these vitamins and doing everything. Your body's already healthy. Remember, there's some vitamins that your body stores. You
yes.
have vitamins that are fat soluble, vitamins that are water soluble. The ones that are water soluble, like your vitamin C, yes, you take them every day. But your vitamin D, your vitamin E, there are lots of vitamins that are fat soluble. That means they stay in your body for months, sometimes years, and so you don't deplete your stores so early. So you have to make sure. So it's important, and that's why I said that. Just because it says birth month, your birth month is linked
To
to
this
increased risk of
increase.
multiple
So
sclerosis, and that's it.
here's
For
something
me,
that I
that
would
was
say.
fascinating.
Here's something that I would ask though, or just to say, or make a comment on, is that based on what you said to me, you're saying this morning, women, by keeping bad health or unhealthy practices, have been responsible for interfering with the children in a lot of ways, and causing their permanent damage to them in some ways because of healthy behavior, healthy lifestyle, or unhealthy habits.
Is that a question or a
No,
statement? So
no,
what I'm
no, no.
saying to you,
I'm saying. Let me just fix it because I think maybe it went. I'm only saying that based on what you're saying, is that women who do or have unhealthy practices usually end up damaging the child that they're carrying.
and the thing about that, Mikey G, is that God is a good God, and we're fearfully and wonderfully made, because there are people who have such bad habits before and during and after the pregnancy, and the baby comes out perfectly fine. So we have to make sure, because we don't know. But sometimes, even with the bad habits, we have a perfectly fine baby. And there are people who do every solitary thing that the book says. They do to the T, and the baby comes out abnormal.
Ah,
So we live in a sinful world, and it's just for us to trust in God and to pray, especially when we're about to embark on procreation, to pray that we have eugenesis, means good beginning, and we also have a good pregnancy. Because remember, we're living in a sinful world. We could be breathing bad things. We could be just exposed to bad things. We buy our vegetables, which we think are the better diet to
Healthy,
have,
yes.
but the vegetables could be exposed with organophosphates, pesticides, and other things,
Pesticides,
and we
yes.
ingest that and then end up hurting ourselves and also our unborn baby. So it's not a matter of we're trying to do the right things, but unfortunately, we live in this sinful world, and regardless, but all we have to do is to pray and trust that God will be able to take care of us and take care of the babies or the children that He has given us.
Over 1,000 rockets has been fired in Iran already to another country. And I'm telling you, just the devastation, not the rockets hitting, but the aftermath of those chemicals and stuff that are blowing around the atmosphere, and all of that, those weapons that are firing those contaminants. I'm sure that we're going to get a lot of disease and sickness from some of those stuff that are going to be floating around soon. So look out for more diseases. Dr. K, I want to thank you for joining us this morning for the breakfast hour, and of course to bring out some really important information, especially for childbearing. Even as your best effort, children can get born with the worst of defects, but having good practice will possibly bring out a better certified insurer birth for a child to come to term in good health if you practice safe lifestyle, healthy habits.
And of course, if you never heard of this condition before, I have heard persons refer to multiple sclerosis so often as MS, my MS.
It's MS.
You know, so if you are tuning in to the breakfast hour, I want to say thank you, Dr. K, for raising awareness, because sometimes we get so overwhelmed with the sheer volume of diseases and issues that we have to deal with in terms of taking care of our health. But each time you have proven over and over is that our knowledge, there's still room and space. You see, I sat here patiently and listened and learned so much this morning. Thank you so much for spending the time to share this information with us.
Thank you. You're welcome, Lady Elise. It's my pleasure.
All right, guys, of course, this morning's episode is brought to you by Asai Ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Grand Cayman. Thank you, Dr. K, for being here with us this morning. Have yourself a wonderful day, of course, when we come back.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Of course, this morning it is indeed a beautiful morning right here in the Grand K. And of course, so much going on this morning. We talked a little bit more about the idea of how we are affected by so many different diseases, so many different things that are hitting at us. This one we have talked about today, and it is this one attacks our bodies. Our immune system is actually attacking us. Now, just imagine that happening. It's like your body becomes your own best enemy, and it is something to think about. This morning, we are promoting one more event from the Clifton Hunter High School. And, we want to ensure that we put this one out because we want you to be mindful of it. Go out and support this one. This is going to be one of the most important event of the year. It's coming up this month end. And of course, it is a beautiful occasion to be out doing something awesome.
Join us for an unforgettable evening of praise and worship. Clifton Hunter High School presents One Voice, One Praise, happening on Saturday, March 28, 2026 at 6 p.m. at the Clifton Hunter High School Performance Hall. Come and experience powerful performances by students, teachers, churches in the community, special guest visitors. Adults $10, children $5. All proceeds go towards supporting the Key Club and Spanish Venture. Don't miss this uplifting night of worship, unity, and inspiration. See you there.
Hope and inspiration coming up on this end of month when we shall be with our friends having a wonderful time with this concert. I'm telling you, if you didn't join us at any point, please join us for this one. We're going to be coming up with our news next right here on their breakfast hour. But we have to really definitely support our friends wherever and whenever we can. Good morning once again. As we talked about the Clifton Hunter High School this morning, Lady Elise, and the concert that is going to be happening.
Yes.
We're encouraging everyone to get out and just be out and do it. Just do it.
And I have to shout out all my Clifton Hunter peeps because they are Flashpoint supporters. Big shout out to Miss Alan, who is part of the organization behind this event. And certainly we have to give support to our youth because we know the youth are the future. They are I wouldn't even say tomorrow. They are today's leaders because they are already leading in their own right. So that concert happening on the 28th of March, you need to be there.
28th of March concert at the Clifton Hunter High School.
Yes.
Definitely something
Yes.
we should not miss. Of course, our news comes up next, right here on Flashpoint. Of course, stay tuned.
One and Up now has ARA, DHA, and prebiotics. It's a new, smarter formula. The time by Lasco One and Up is...
It's 3 minutes past 8 o'clock right here in the Grand K.
Of course, and it's time for our news, brought to you by Lasco.
Good morning. I'm Coralee Karen, and this is your breakfast or news update. Top story: rising tensions impact Dubai's financial sector. Iran's ongoing drone strikes are now having a significant impact on Dubai's role as a global financial hub. On March 16th, a drone strike forced the temporary closure of Dubai's airport. While some flights have since resumed, major disruptions continue. Several international airlines have halted services, and British Airways has cancelled all flights to Dubai until June, citing continued instability in Middle East airspace. The airport attack follows earlier strikes on the Dubai International Financial Center, raising concerns about the Emirates' ability to function as a secure base for international business. Companies have responded in different ways. Some firms are continuing in-office operations, while others have shifted to remote work or arranged emergency relocations for staff. Cayman-based firms with offices in Dubai, including Walkers and Maples Group, have activated business continuity plans with employees working from home while maintaining client services. Security analysts say Iran's strategy goes beyond military action, aiming to destabilize Gulf economies and disrupt global energy markets. The long-term outlook for Dubai's financial sector will depend heavily on how the broader geopolitical situation unfolds. Weather. Thunderstorm advisory in effect. Closer to home, the Cayman Islands National Weather Service has issued a thunderstorm advisory in effect from Tuesday morning through Thursday. There is a 40% chance of thunderstorms with cloudy skies, scattered showers, and isolated storms expected, particularly over the sister islands. While heavy rainfall is possible at times, officials say flooding is not anticipated. Chief Meteorologist Terry Horry is urging residents to take standard lighting precautions. This advisory is part of a new alert system introduced to provide clearer, more actionable weather information in line with international standards. Economy. Local farming key to food security. The Cayman Islands is looking to strengthen its food security by boosting local production of fruits and vegetables. Currently, the country imports the vast majority of its produce, spending nearly $69 million on fruits and vegetables in 2024 alone. Rising global oil prices and import duties are driving up food costs, placing additional pressure on households. The Ministry of Agriculture says expanding local farming, particularly for crops like tomatoes, lettuce, mangoes, and avocados, could significantly reduce imports while generating millions in local economic activity. Officials are also encouraging backyard and school gardening as part of the broader, quote, Grown in Cayman, end quote, campaign aimed at building a more resilient food system. In culture, honoring Cayman's female national heroes. In celebration of International Women's Month, new commemorative stamps have been issued featuring 4 of Cayman's female national heroes. The collection highlights Mary Elvin Wood, Sybil Lone McLaughlin, Lilo Rose Sher, and Sybil Joyce Hilton, women who made lasting contributions to politics, culture, public service, and social development in the islands. The stamps were officially released on March 2nd and are now available through the Cayman Islands Postal Service. Health. Women's Health Conference highlights key issues. Women's health took center stage at the 14th Annual Women's Health Conference held last week at Hotel Indigo. More than 450 attendees gathered to discuss a wide range of topics including reproductive health, cancer care, menopause, and mental health. Health officials emphasized the importance of open conversations and improved access to care, noting that women's health is central to overall community well-being. Plans are also underway to enhance prenatal education and expand healthcare access under new legislation. In sports, Cayman prepares for regional pickleball showdown. And finally in sports, Cayman's national pickleball team is gearing up for the Caribbean Pickleball Championships in Bermuda this week. Following a narrow defeat to Bermuda in last year's inaugural tournament, the team is aiming to reverse that result. The competition runs from March 17 to 21st and will feature teams from across the region in a World Cup style format. Those were your breakfast or news update. I'm Coralee Karen. Thanks for listening and have a great day.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
It's so important to maintain food security. That conversation has been one that has been whispered. We're kind of talking about it, but, not deliberately. And as things change across the world, you now know how important it is for you to be able to feed yourself, because certainly if you are relying on imports, then what would happen if there is delayed importation of food? What are the items that we can survive on? And Mikey G, this troubled me during COVID-19. Most persons had an issue is, how am I going to get to the supermarket? And my question was, how did you survive without supermarkets? Has supermarket been a thing from as long as life has been existed? Persons used to plant, right?
People used to plant their food and have produce coming from the ground all the time.
Yes.
This is not a new conversation that we are having. It's an old conversation that has been ridiculed. In fact, used to have the concept of country people and town people. You remember that conversation about country people and town people? And town people
Yes.
are the tapanaris, and the country people are country bunking. And then so country people decide that we don't want to be country bunkings no more. So we're going to be town bunkings now.
Yes.
Stop planting, which was the entire ecosystem of the country in terms of your food distribution and your ability to feed yourself, came from those farmers who dedicated their lives and planted
Yes.
religiously.
Yes.
And what the country did, the country and many countries did, many little local countries like our little Caribbean countries,
Yes.
is to minimize those persons who actually work in the fields and elevate those who work in offices. No, I want
That's
you to
true.
eat the paper in the office now. Eat the paper in the office. Right? And so-
we still do it. We still do it, Mikey G.
we did it. No, we did a psychological twist and run on persons
Yes.
who are living and demonize them in some bad ways, and then the youngsters grow up from their, and when they're grown up, they don't want to be named and called that. So they want to be
No.
in the same nonsense that everybody else is doing, which is don't make
They
no
want
sense.
a big job. They
said
don't want to be plowing fields.
Where does wealth
yes.
come from, Lady Elise? Where does wealth come from? Wealth comes from
Yes.
construction, industrialization. Wealth comes from industrialization. Even
Yes.
the money that you see people circulating, you're not going to get no money circulating unless you have something tangible attached to that circulation of money. So you can have
But you know,
financial
Mikey
sector
G-
all you want, circulating finances. But if you don't have something that makes the money to create the financial sector, there is none.
You know, Mikey G, you know what is an interesting thing that used to happen? And it happened recently on a visit to my homeland. And it's not that you plant every single thing on your property, but your neighbor. I shout out to my neighbor there, Sir Shippy. He would carry down some callaloo, cabbage, pak choy, right? But on
On his
our
way back.
farm, we would have
On his way back,
pineapples,
some breadfruit and
yes,
stuff. Going
yes, we have pineapples, oranges, and we have a whole lot of red fruit. So what I have, you might not have, and so together we would supply each other.
All right.
So you know, yeah.
Merciful.
And if you should drive through St. Elizabeth, I would challenge you. I don't know what has happened since Beryl, then Melissa. I should shout out to Sir Amir. I should let him, you know, we need to reach out to him. He needs to share with us what's happening in the bread basket communities over there in St. Elizabeth, because certainly when you drive through, instead of flowers and a beautiful lawn, I would see thyme and scallion. And that's something interesting to see. And I also have to say I purchased a nice plant from Sister O'Connor, who is an avid, she has a green thumb. I have a nice fever grass, a plant that is thriving. So it takes, you have to be deliberate, Mikey G, and you have to think about these things.
When you walk around Cayman, what do you see
Yes.
in terms of plants? Do you see any plants that actually bear fruits?
Well, only mangoes.
But they're not planted.
yeah.
Those were not deliberately planted. They were somehow they grew somewhere by somebody throwing a seed and the tree
Yeah.
sprang up. But it's not something that
we
you
have
dig up.
breadfruit and mangoes right here. A lot of breadfruit and mangoes. But I have to say, maybe, and I have to shout out Hazel G. Hazel G is also a member of the Flashpoint team. And Hazel G plants her stuff. I don't know if there's one thing.
Yeah.
And she's here in the Grand K. I don't know if there's one thing that she doesn't plant, but I've gotten mangoes and apples, local apples.
When I speak about
Yes.
the planting of trees, I'm speaking about when you're doing landscaping. and we are landscaping for a new hotel or a new property or something. A fruit tree is not a tree that will be planted on any of those properties.
That's true.
You will see more palm tree than coconut trees. There is no fruit on a palm tree that you can eat from it, but it's there to beautify. And so when you talked about the St. Elizabeth persons who, what they did was they plant thyme and scallion and everything for their flowers.
Yes.
But the town people plant color. The town people plant bougainvillea and crotons and other plants that have no real value in terms of but beautification. Now, mind you, some of these plants are actually medicinal. But the persons who sometimes plant them, like the bougainvillea, some people don't know it has a medicinal property. But they plant it just for beautification, not because of its potency in medicine.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, though, Mikey G. Let our medicine be our food and our food be our medicine.
Here's the piece that I'm going to put there. We have what we call a global village. And our global village is a Caribbean village. But what we have been doing, a lot of persons are disconnecting themselves by racial biases and what we call or divide in economic wealth or whatever.
Yes.
And by dividing yourself, you have left yourself vulnerable to your own demise. I remember when Jamaica was the breadbasket for the Grand Cayman Islands and supported it 100% when it had not even drinking water. How do we treat our Jamaican friends, our family in Jamaica? How do we treat our family in Jamaica as against our U.S. counterparts who sometimes probably don't be mindful of us when we need water in Cayman, or Canadian, or even British? Well, the British, under the British colony, we adopted the Cayman Islands as one of the parishes of Jamaica.
Yes.
One of the parishes that was supported by Jamaica and given everything.
Yes.
It should be the strongest link. Grand Cayman should have the strongest link between Cayman and Jamaica, and should be a bond of unity between the two countries. You shouldn't have visa restrictions and all these things going on.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Yes.
Seeing that is like your mother have you and you spit on her. That's what you're looking at. Like your mother have you and you mistreat her.
But Mikey G, what we have to recognize, and that is something that you see playing out now, is that a lot of things that and the decisions that are made it's the leadership, right? And when we lead, it's a profound responsibility that's passed on to generations, and the impact sometimes not immediately felt is felt down the line. So what happened then when things happen is a consequence. So it's a whole cycle, and we see that happening now. But I'm looking on this picture as well, Mikey G, as we tie the conversation to food security, is that even in Jamaica, a large quantity of food items have been imported. And I remember that a lot of the imported goods were cheaper. I'm talking about imported onions and stuff. The onions, if you would go to the market, the onions that were imported, they were bigger and,
more lush.
The smaller ones, yes, the smaller ones grown locally were more expensive. So these are the things that have happened. So we are trying to go back to basics, but we have been taught a certain narrative over the years, and so we have been planting less. And also, let me point this out, Mikey G, is that persons who have their farms, they are unable to access the workforce as well, because the younger generation, it's not something that's sold to them as a thing to do.
That's the point
So
I'm making to
whereas
you,
you had
Lady Elise.
an agricultural school, and we probably need to reach out because there was an agricultural school called Nakalva back in the way, Nakalva Agricultural School. Are they still in operation? What are their courses? What is the enrollment like? There's no interest. So
But
you
you must
find
understand that there's no prestige
yes,
that comes with that job description.
there is no prestige that comes with that, and that whole narrative needs to change.
That is
But
what has
Mikey G,
destroyed us. What we have done is we have used prestige to destroy ourselves. And we would have
Yes.
demonized the persons. You know, when you hear people talk about those persons who work with their hands, you want to give them menial pay. Let them stop do what they do and see how much you survive. It's a bad thing to see that you underpay people who are most essential to your survival, and the ones who are least essential are paid more.
So, Mikey G, I am packing everything in one because we open this conversation now, and we need to spend more time on it because now you have caused my mind to think, and it's like a ripple effect. And I want to reach out to somebody in the technical area, maybe somebody from Heart, maybe somebody from Nakalva, and have the conversation. But Mikey G, time is running swiftly ahead. Conversations After Dark comes on tonight. Connie J. just sent me something which I sent to your phone. I think it is just introducing the program, and of course it's saying to our listeners, is no really no? And that is the question that is going to be asked and addressed tonight on the Conversations After Dark with Mario, happening 10 p.m. Also, Mikey G, you soon say, Lady Elise, please, please, please. But before he says, please, 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 let me read this message from my friend over there in Israel. She, I asked her, she lives in Israel. She actually works in Tel Aviv. And she says that, we should pray for her. She has a shelter at work, and she prays every day to drive safe. Thankfully, she works close to home. It's not a long drive, but we have an alarm about 6 minutes before the rockets arrive. So if it's 6 minutes before there is impact, there's an alarm, and there is also a shelter at work. That's her reality over there in Israel. So shout out to you. We are praying for all those countries, and as we said, leadership. So there are persons, there is a war, and you had nothing to do with it, meaning you are just living in the country.
Yeah, it's a sad thing to see, Lady Elise, that so many things are happening
Yes.
around us. There's a young man who is in our Ebenezer group chat that is going to court today, and they are asking for prayer for him. So those reach out. We are asking for those who are prayer warriors, and you don't have to be prayer warriors. All of us are prayer warriors. We all pray for this one person to have a successful trial, and of course, see his way through, and God's graces be with him as he goes through today's experience. So, we will definitely be, when we come off the platform, say a word of prayer definitely for the young man, and be mindful of it. Let's do the Conversation After Dark with Mario this evening and Connie J.E.
When she says no, what do you hear? A challenge or a boundary? This Wednesday at 10 p.m. on Flashpoint Radio, Conversations After Dark with Mario is asking the questions people avoid. Does no really mean no? No scripts, no excuses, just raw, honest conversation about consent, respect, and real understanding. Think you know the answer? Well, what are you waiting for? Call in and prove it. Conversations After Dark with Mario, where the truth gets uncomfortable. Wednesdays at 10 p.m. only on Flashpoint Radio.
10 p.m. tonight, yeah man. Tonight we are on 10 p.m. tonight on Flashpoint Radio, and we get sticky. You know, this is a big topic where the conversation goes on. Many. All right. We will have the conversation later. All right, you know what? Let's get out of here, Lady Elise. It's time for us to go. Clifton Hunter High School having their concert coming up on the week and the month this month end. What is it? 20,
Yes.
20 what? 20,
28th,
the
28th of March.
The 28th of March, and
Yes.
of course we are having that one on the 28th of March. Clifton Hunter, all roads lead to Clifton Hunter. Gate opens at 6 o'clock in the PM, and of course it's just total fun, enjoyment. Of course, a few of our Flashpoint came and got talent representatives will be there. Our talent appearances will be on that show, and so you're going to be a joyful time. But guys, it was good being here with you. Thank you for joining us this morning. It has been a momentous morning, and of course a fabulous one. Have yourself a God bless day. Continue to enjoy Flashpoint Radio. Our web radio continue www.flashpointmedia.ky. Of course, check out our Flashpoint app, and of course get going with our daily conversation. And of course tonight, Conversation After Dark comes up with Mario at 10 p.m. tonight. Of course, Mikey G will be joining and talking a little bit as well. So please check us out. Lady Elise, you will be talking as well.
Yes, I'll be there live and in living colors. So I want to just thank our listeners, thank our viewers, and say thank you again to Dr. K. You must join us on the next Wellness Wednesday, because Dr. K always brings some information. You must have learned something today from Dr. K. So thank you for joining us here on the Breakfast Hour. Looking forward to seeing you again. I'm super excited. Of course, on a Thursday is our community emphasis. You think you know how to use the roundabout? Maybe there's something you need to know. So you got to stick and stay with us tomorrow on the Breakfast Hour. So thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Yourself a Flashpoint day. Start your breakfast the Flashpoint way and cruise through lunch and then to dinner. With Flashpoint Radio. Flashpoint Radio is a class. Flashpoint Radio for gospel, inspiration, motivation, and meditation. Anywhere you go, take Flashpoint with you. Flashpoint Radio in a class by itself.